All right, so you remember how we were talking about how the Department of Justice raided the Georgia Hyundai plant with ICE, the biggest raid of all time, like of their history? That's what this press conference is about. So let's see if they give us some more information on like some numbers, like some hard numbers, like directly from the Department of Justice.
All right. Well, good morning. Thank you for being here today. My name is Meg Heap, and I'm the United States Attorney. And joining me here today is...
It's weird. I can only hear it out of
Tanya
my
Gruver with
left
the United
ear.
States Attorney's Office.
Is that the case for you guys too?
Steve Schrank, the special agent in charge with Homeland Security Investigations. We have...
That's weird.
We moved around. Vlad Francis, he is the field office director of the ICE removal and...
Hold on. Let's try that again. Nope.
President, special agent in charge with the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Well, that's life sometimes.
Joseph
I guess we'll just deal with it.
Resident in charge with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Brian
Yeah,
Viella,
I want to hear what
the assistant
specifics
special
of this
agent
were.
in charge with the Drug Enforcement Administrations.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with them for sure.
United States Marshal's Office
Like,
with
where are
the
they
Southern
gonna send
District
them?
of Georgia.
Waiting for the Chiefs
First,
game
I
to
want
start.
to extend my sincere
Let's go.
appreciation to the agencies
Sir
that played
Potatoes,
a
what's
critical
up,
role
brother?
in this investigation. This effort was led by Homeland and Security Investigations with Steve Schrank at the helm. Also with the vital assistance from the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement and Removal Operations.
Yeah, I know the left
Federal
side
Bureau of
audio.
Investigations, the Bureau of Alcohol,
I don't know how
Tobacco,
they
Firearms, and
messed it up, but
Explosives,
it is what it is,
the
I
Internal
guess.
Revenue Service, Criminal Investigations, the United
When they posted
States
it was like
Department of
that.
Labor, the Office of the Inspector General, the United
Strange.
States Marshal Service, the Georgia
Peculiar,
State Patrol, and Assistant United States Attorneys Tanya Gruver, Ryan Bondura, Kelsey Scanlon, and Greg Galuli.
All right.
This outcome is the direct result of their hard work and commitment. Such an undertaking can
wanna know
only
the
be
details.
accomplished through combined efforts.
Give me the details.
Resources
I want the
and
deets.
dedication of these agencies working together
I want
with a
the
shared
deets.
goal. The Department of Justice mission is to reduce illegal employment and prevent employers from gaining an
Looks like they
unfair
recorded a
advantage
mono
by
signal in
hiring
stereo, but forgot to
unauthorized
record over
workers
all the
and
audio
exploiting those
tracks. Yeah.
workers. This is an ongoing investigation, and we are limited as to what we can discuss.
I watched last night's
At this
football game.
point,
It was
I'm going to
crazy,
turn it
the whole
over to
game.
Steve Schrank, to
Who
give
was
more
playing last
information
night? Was
on
it the
that.
Cowboys?
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Meg.
I think it was the Cowboys.
Good morning.
I
and
think.
Thank you all for
Might
coming.
be wrong.
My name is Stephen Schrank. I'm the special agent in charge of Homeland Security Investigations for the states of Georgia and Alabama.
Okay.
Yesterday,
Georgia
Homeland
and
Security
Alabama?
Investigations, in coordination with our law enforcement partners, executed a judicial search warrant as part of an ongoing criminal investigation into allegations of unlawful employment practices and serious federal crimes. This operation underscores our commitment to protecting jobs for Georgians and Americans, ensuring a level playing field for businesses that comply with the law, safeguarding the integrity of our economy, and protecting workers from exploitation.
Okay.
The investigation resulted in the arrest of 475 individuals.
Yo, 475. So, yeah, you're right. Luke, you were right. It was closer to 500. Filler. quit yapping, lady. I want to hear, I want meat and potatoes. Give me data. I want data and statistics. 475 arrests at the Hyundai plant. Wow. That is a lot. That's a lot of people, man. That's a lot of people. You got to put those people somewhere, and you got to feed them, and you got to give them water, and you got to give them clothing, and you got to like figure out where you're sending them and what you're doing with them. That's a lot. That's a lot, man. That's a lot of logistics. Apparently they planned this out like for a very long time after investigations were taking place.
And is focused on ensuring accountability for those who violate the law and uphold the rule of law. Complex cases like this require strong collaboration and extensive
I
investigative
heard there was a
efforts.
bunch of like
We
South
extend our
Koreans involved in it.
gratitude
Though. That's the weird
to
thing. So
ICE
I want to look into
enforcement
that a
and
little
removal
more.
operations, the United States Department of Labor, Office of Inspector General, FBI, DEA, Customs and Border Protection, ATF, IRS, U.S. Marshals, and the Georgia State
Jesus,
Patrol.
every
for
three-letter
their
agency in the
invaluable
government was
support.
there.
Each agency
The
contributed
IRS.
specialized experience that was critical to the success
Why am I not
of
surprised
this
to hear
lengthy
this happen at a
operation.
Hyundai plant?
Together,
why do you
we
think
are
it would
sending a
happen at a
clear and
Hyundai plant
unequivocal
first?
message that those who exploit our workforce, undermine our economy, and violate federal laws will be held accountable.
I wonder what
I'd like
laws
to
they are
add
saying they
that
violated.
This was not a immigration operation where agents went into the premises, rounded up folks, and put them on buses. This has been a multi-month criminal investigation where we have developed evidence, conducted interviews, gathered documents, and presented that evidence to the court in order to obtain a judicial search warrant. Yesterday, we executed that search warrant and gathered additional evidence that will support this investigation. There are no criminal charges being announced today, but this is an ongoing matter.
Okay.
While we were on the premises, we did encounter many hundreds of individuals.
Hundreds.
Of those, as I've previously mentioned, 475 were illegally present in the United States or in violation of their presence in the United States, working unlawfully, who have entered through a variety of different means into the United States. Some that illegally crossed the border into the United States, some that came in through visa waiver and were prohibited from working, some that had visas and overstayed their visas. And each individual was questioned on their status. Their documents were checked.
I read a lot of those detained overstayed their visas. Okay. Cheap labor exploitation. I don't know. I don't know what they were paying them. Yeah, since South Korea is an ally, I hope no stories about mistreatment gets leaked out. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you know, I hope they treat them fairly. Hope they treat them humanely, because, like, man, you do some dumb stuff with South Korea, that's gonna put a damper on the relationship between the two countries. So
checked, their backgrounds were checked, and ultimately through coordination of our experts and attorneys in the background, those that were found to be illegally present were then detained and turned over to ICE enforcement and removal operations custody.
Okay, so they did detain those people that were found in violation of either overstaying their visas or being here illegally or working when they didn't have a work visa or whatever. But you know what I think and this is just my guess. This is just a complete, like, shot in the dark. I don't know if this is true. Can't verify it. I wonder if what happened is that those folks were all working for an extended period of time, and I wonder if, like, the Department of Justice or, like, the Department of Homeland Security or ICE or Immigration, I wonder if they knew for a while that this was going on, but they just didn't do anything about it. Or they're just like, yeah, whatever. And they kind of look the other way. And then now that these guys are here and the current people are in, that they are now enforcing rules that were supposed to have been enforced the entire time, but were not being enforced. I wonder if that's the case, because that could potentially be like a reason why this was happening. Not saying it is, don't know for sure. I'm curious if that's what was going on, you know. I think that there's probably some other folks that probably have some questions. I have a lot of questions for sure, because I want to know, like, how long was the investigation going on for? You know, like, was it being investigated by the previous administration, or did they start investigating it this year after the inauguration? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, what kind of stuff is going on with that?
But this is all in furtherance of the ongoing investigation, where we are looking at employment practices. We made seizures yesterday as part of that to gather additional evidence and conducted interviews and are continuing this ongoing investigation. We will take some limited
Mike, we let the
questions
Saudis slide when they took out Khashoggi, so I'm sure Korea is okay.
How many were Korean nationals? The Korean media.
Oh, here they're asking.
There was a majority of Korean nationals from the...
A majority. Okay, so he just said that the majority of the people that were there were Korean nationals.
475. I don't have the exact nationality breakdown for you, but we can likely get that after the fact.
Okay, so he said that the majority of those people detained were South Korean. Interesting.
Employees of HLGA Battery? Were they employees of construction construction contractors that were doing construction work on the site, who they worked for?
As we had determined through our investigation in advance and certainly experienced yesterday, there was a network of subcontractors and subcontractors for the subcontractors there. So the employees worked for a variety of different companies that were on the site. It was not just the parent company, but also subcontractors, and we're unveiling.
Maybe that's the problem.
But some of them were.
That may be the problem. He said there's subcontractors of subcontractors of subcontractors. If there's like 3 subcontractors and the one down here has all these employees, and this subcontractor up here just subcontracts all these subcontractors, and then these subcontractors subcontract all these subcontractors who all have employees, then these guys up here probably had no idea that these employees of the subcontractor that was subcontracting to another subcontractor, if those guys were illegal or if they were here illegally or working illegally. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Luke. That's what I'm thinking. Hyundai may not have had any idea. They may not have had a single clue. They might have just had paperwork from all of the layers of subcontractors saying, yep, we're good, we're golden, everybody's legal, we're all okay, and that was it. I don't know. I guess the investigation will, they'll probably find out or they'll release more information in the investigation, but that's a quagmire of bureaucracy, and how do you dig down? You got to dig deep down in there to figure that stuff out. You know what I mean?
For the parent company.
That's a lot to figure out. Exactly.
Yeah, we continue to work on the investigation of who exactly worked for what companies.
Yeah, who worked for what company? Isn't that like weird? Isn't that a weird thing to even have to say? Like, okay, they're all at the Hyundai plant working. Why aren't they Hyundai employees then? Why are there like all these subcontractors doing jobs at a Hyundai plant? Why don't they have Hyundai employees that work at a Hyundai plant? Like, that's confusing. And maybe it's like a common practice because it's like cheaper to contract labor out from other subcontractors than it is to hire directly into your plant. And maybe it was planned for confusion, like you said, Shrift. I don't know. That's a tough thing. And then how do you figure out who's to blame for it? Let's see here. Moose says a South Korean company with illegal Koreans working there is sus. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know like how that happened. Like who do you point the finger at? I don't know. Because there's a chance that Hyundai may not have known, and then how do you prove? You got to prove that they didn't know, though. In a court of law, like if they're gonna go through this stuff, you have to prove that they explicitly did not know.
Now.
They are in the custody of ICE enforcement and removal operations.
Let's see here. You said Anti-Socialist Club says, I heard Newscomb released 25,000 illegals from California jails to save them from being easily deported by ICE. Yeah, I haven't heard that. I'd have to look into it and check. They're going to open a whole new can of beans once they figure out the subcontractors and find their other locations where they're working. Yeah, you're probably right. Because, those subcontractors who subcontracted other subcontractors may be like subcontracting work out to a bunch of different companies. Like, who knows? It could very well go very deep.
Were brought to the Folkston D-Ray facility last
Lot
night.
Dog says cheap and they do not need to give as much benefits.
Their individual circumstances
possible.
Beyond that.
Yes, ma'am. WTOC has been investigating and reporting on the presence of undocumented workers on the site for about a year now, and so this has kind of been something that's been known to some extent in the local community. What is it that prompted Homeland
been known
investigation
by some of the locals.
Look into this?
Yeah, we are aware and we have monitored that reporting as well. We have also received many leads from community members, from prior workers. We have conducted
community members
through immigration operations throughout the state of Georgia. Employees that, when encountered, informed us that they worked there. We have interviewed folks and we have developed evidence over the course of many months in support of the investigation.
Yeah, the government can prove it, though, because employers are supposed to have everything on record, yeah.
I don't want to speculate on ultimate. This is an ongoing investigation. No charges have been filed, so that means that no wrongdoing is being accused at this time.
Yes, ma'am.
I had a question.
Okay.
Was
fair.
anyone in
But then if no wrongdoing is being accused, then how can you detain people? That's, you know what I mean? How can you legally detain somebody if they're not being charged for a crime? You know what I mean? That's a weird thing to me, just to like think of, like what if they just came and detained people for being in America with an expired visa? Okay. But that they're not being charged, but they did something. So that's probably more, maybe that's what it is then. They're like, okay, so they have broken laws. They have not been officially charged, but it's been shown that they broke laws, and so they were able to detain them because they can verify that they did in fact break these laws or regulations. Okay, maybe that's what it is then.
Did anyone die during the process of this raid?
There were no substantial uses of force.
Okay, yeah. Somebody just asked, did anybody die as a result of this raid? Fair question. That's a fair question. Just want to check. Just want to see. Just want to hear. Just want to hear that nobody died as a result of this. Did anybody fall into a vat or anything weird or a presser or something? Nope.
There were no injuries reported.
No injuries.
One individual was overheating a little bit and was treated on scene.
Oh, somebody overheated.
And, one agent suffered a minor laceration while conducting it, but no significant injuries.
Okay, and then
interesting.
Part of the process,
minor laceration. I wonder
so
what
this was
from.
A multi-month process. Can you kind of, I guess, give
a scuffle?
How many months did it take? I guess is my
Did they have
This has been
fisticuffs?
ongoing throughout this year.
So can we say
Interesting
January?
question. Yeah, for sure.
I don't have the exact start date of the investigation.
He doesn't have. Okay, so that was another question I was curious about. Like, do you know when the investigation started? And he said he doesn't have the exact date.
Operation compared to other operations in the state of Georgia and across the nation, was this one of the largest ones, or can you kind of give us an idea of how big this was?
This, in fact, was the largest single-site enforcement operation in the history of Homeland Security investigations.
The largest single. Let's play that again. Let's play that again, just for everyone to hear.
This, in fact, was the largest single-site enforcement operation in the history of Homeland Security investigations.
Well, there you have it, folks. The largest single site. Hold on. What else did he say?
Single-site enforcement operation in the history of Homeland Security investigations.
The largest single site enforcement operation in the history of Homeland Security investigations. Yeah, Homeland Security investigations partying this weekend, boy. Yeah, you bet your bottom dollar they're gonna go to the pool hall. They're gonna be dropping a keg party. Yeah. Let's see here. I'd assume if true that he released those illegals because he wants them to vote for his map redistricting, to which, yes, you can easily vote in California without showing any form of identification. It's actually the law there that nobody can ask you for ID. Oh, yeah, for the California thing. Yeah, I don't know. As a car guy, the Korean manufacturers are known for being, quote, cheap with their products. It wouldn't surprise me that if that's the case with their workers as well. What I meant was when I was not surprised it's Hyundai. Yeah, I don't know. What if it's a shell company? I don't know, man. I don't know. This is almost over, though.
Any last question?
Across the country, yes.
Last question?
Yeah, did HLTA battery, did they use E-Verify in their employment practices?
I don't want to answer for them.
One quick one.
Is there any evidence of labor trafficking at this point?
That is something that is always part of our investigations when we're doing employment investigations. As I've indicated, there have been no charges filing, but it is certainly something that we will be looking for.
And that's it. Wow. Well, that is crazy, man. 475 people detained at the Hyundai plant. That's a pretty big one. Pretty big one. So